Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, unfortunately, the whole EDP 445 thing has kind of evolved. I didn't really think it would kind of go down this route, but unfortunately it has, and it's kind of led to a whole, new, different drama here on YouTube. Certainly, not what anyone would anticipate, I figured, because, I mean, let's be real, 99.9% of, anyone who knows about what's going on here and, knows the situation is pretty much in agreement that, EDP 445 kinda deserves to be clowned on, he deserves to be shit on. Realistically, he deserves a whole lot worse than that, but I mean, you know, that's just not happening right now, obviously. I mean, as far as I know, he hasn't been arrested or anything. I did hear rumors that the FBI might be investigating him or someone like that, but keep in mind, that's just rumors, so that's nothing confirmed. But YouTube appears to be kind of, people say, taking the side of EDP 445, and at that point, the whole online pedo community in general, okay, over this whole thing. Now, obviously, a lot of people have been talking about the EDP 445 situation because he got caught again, right? Like, that's an insane story. You would think after the first time you get caught red-handed being just, a complete scumbag, that you would have the, conscience and, the moral dignity or whatever to, be, hey, I probably shouldn't do that again. But he got caught again. I mean, what else can we say? This is somebody who clearly is not changing. This is somebody who does not want any help, doesn't want to seek any help, doesn't want anyone to take care of this for him, right? So at that point, in my opinion, you lose all humanity. I guess I got to apologize because YouTube doesn't want people to say the truth about what the reality is here. I mean, it's kind of a bad situation overall for YouTube because now they look basically like they're taking the side of a pedophile in this whole case because a whole bunch of people who have talked about the whole Gideon EDP 445 sting recently have been getting their videos basically smacked by YouTube. They're getting strikes on their channels, which is barring some people from even uploading content anymore for a couple weeks. There's people who are just getting demonetized, which in my opinion is fine, right? And that's kind of the camp that I've fallen into with this whole thing. But it seems like, at least from what I've been able to see, that YouTube's not levying out their quote-unquote punishments or their reactions, I should rephrase that too, very evenly. And that doesn't make sense to me because the rationale that YouTube has basically been giving people is that they've been striking all these different channels because of harassment and cyberbullying, right? Because I guess EDP 445 got caught being a pedophile again in another sting, and people have been bullying him online and calling him names and talking badly about him because that's what he deserves. Let's just be honest here, right? And YouTube has been, like I said, striking people's channels, has been taking their videos down. A whole bunch of commentary channels, including people like Turkey Tom, Briz, a few other people, have seen their videos basically get smacked by YouTube over this whole thing. And that was kind of their rationale, was the whole sting operation. They didn't want people being mean to EDP 445, or it somehow fell within harassment and cyberbullying. I don't know, man. In my opinion, I don't think you can really harass somebody who really shouldn't be considered a person, you know? I don't think harassing pedophiles is a bad thing. I'm just gonna say it, you know? There's people who've been trying to defend EDP 445, right? For instance, there were a few people in a very vocal minority who took a really big issue with me making fun of him from dying of kidney failure and having to be on dialysis in his last days of life. And people were saying, oh, well, you shouldn't make fun of him for something like that, you know? That's a really bad condition. He doesn't deserve that. No one deserves to have to go through that. Honestly, I'll just say it out loud. I disagree. I think pedophiles deserve the absolute worst. If I genuinely went heart to heart with you guys on what I think pedophiles deserve, YouTube would certainly take my shit down because, shocker, I don't have a very good opinion of them. I don't view them as people. I think the moment that you victimize one of the, you gotta think, children are in probably the most defenseless category of people in society. I think these fucking vultures that go around preying upon these defenseless, innocent souls are deserving of the worst. I'll just say it. They should be used as fucking cannon fodder. They should be forced to fight to the death in a Colosseum-style battle for everyone else's entertainment. They should be boiled into soup and then poured into the ocean. There's nothing that's too far when it comes to them in terms of punishment, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people, they suffered a lot of more severe consequences, because keep in mind, if you get a channel strike like a lot of people did in this situation, Like I said, it can bar you from uploading for a few weeks, and then if you get up to 3 strikes on your channel can be terminated. So it appears that most of the content that was kind of taken issue with by YouTube was anyone using the clip of Gideon, like, catching EDP outside of the dialysis center. Like, I think that was the one clip or whatever that really took it too far in terms of YouTube standards. But once again, this doesn't even make sense because, number one, it wasn't like they just met some innocent stranger off the street and was just shitting on them, right? Like, we've seen that content on YouTube for years where people just go around and actually harass and, like, screw with people in real life, in everyday life, and they get pretty much no consequences. But then I guess if you catch a predator outside of his dialysis center and you wear a cupcake outfit, you know, all of a sudden it's cyberbullying and it's harassment. I don't know. I guess that's where me and YouTube fundamentally disagree. But even then, that's a weird stance for them to hold because, I mean, in my video, I showed the Gideon sting. I showed them meeting up with EDP445. And yet my channel or none of my videos were struck, which, I mean, other people were. And it wasn't even just like these tiny creators or whatever either. It was like there were pretty sizable creators that got hit. So it didn't seem like they were really, I guess, being judgmental in who they hit for it, right? But then, I mean, I don't know, like, other people got consequences that I didn't get. Like, the worst that happened to my videos is pretty much anytime I upload a video about EDP445 talking about what this fucking scumbag is doing next, right? I get demonetized, you know? YouTube decides that you can't put ads on that content. You know what? Honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. It's not like my whole YouTube channel revolves around this fucking lame. It really comes down to they don't want you to monetize that kind of shit. I get that. That makes sense. I'm cool with being demonetized on those, but I don't get why if my content was only worthy of demonetization, why other people's wasn't, right? Like, and I know these other creators too, a lot of them that got hit, most of them are not really saying or uploading anything like wild or crazy. For instance, like Turkey Tom's video that got taken down, I'm pretty sure was literally just like a documentary video that just like contextually provides the, like, I guess, backstory to EDP445. Like, I don't think he really went too far or, like, did anything too crazy, but yet, you know, he gets hit with that. And then, like, I mean, I'm gonna be real, like, I'm over here calling for pedophiles to be boiled into soup and fed to fish because I don't view them as people and I'm getting demonetized. So, I mean, I don't know, something about that doesn't seem right. I'm not saying YouTube should come take my shit or anyone else's shit down, by the way. That's not what I'm saying in this. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna have this stance of, like, oh, you can't be mean to pedophiles on our platform, like, first and foremost, why are we defending pedophiles on the platform? And second off, why aren't we holding everyone to that same standard? I don't know. But overall, I think it's a fucking dumb take. I mean, I get what YouTube's trying to do. Like, they don't want the drama of that on their platform. Because obviously, EDP445 was a YouTuber, right? Like, this guy made his name or whatever on this platform. So, in YouTube's eyes, this is essentially just a case of, like, a YouTube liability getting scraped back up and thrown back into the front line. And I mean, for them, right, this is just like a brand liability altogether. Because if there's a bunch of people on your platform, quote unquote, being mean to pedophiles who came from your platform, then people may subconsciously think that YouTube is the problem somehow, which, I mean, that's a dumb stance for people to have, but in the world of business, like, that's the way YouTube's looking at it. They don't want this shit here because it doesn't look the best for the platform. But I mean, part of having these platforms and part of having these websites is when uncomfortable shit like this is brought up, right? Like, when we unfortunately have to talk about and address these kinds of topics, like, I think people should have the right to do so. Like, people should be encouraged even to, you know, make the stance that the YouTube community doesn't stand alongside these fucking assholes, right? Like, it really shouldn't go any further than that. I don't understand why it would, but I mean, that's the way businesses run. They gotta think about, like, what would the dumbest consumer think? Does that have the potential to mess up our brand? And it's not like we haven't seen people kind of like overreact to problems on the YouTube app and community before, right? Like, we've seen several at this point adpocalypses or mini adpocalypses and massive financial dramas where advertisers either did pull ads from YouTube or they threatened to. And I mean, you know, YouTube over time, they've kind of gotten into this position where they'll do anything they can to not have another one of those go down. And I think that in this case here, they're just kind of reacting on those standards where they're just trying to step away from this kind of shit. They kind of want to clean their hands of it. But I mean, you can't clean your hands of it as a platform if this is, you know, the public perception that people have now, right? Like, by hitting these videos and taking this stance that it's not okay to show these kinds of stings or whatever because it focuses in on one person or whatever, it makes YouTube look like they're defending EDP445. Like, it makes people, it's almost like the opposite reaction of what they're hoping for. Like, it seems like YouTube thinks that by doing this, right, they're getting people to be like, oh, look, YouTube's taking a stance against all of the drama, all of the pedophiles, all of the weirdos, right? Look at them. But in reality, by taking this stance, to most people now it just looks like, oh, hey, we're trying to avoid the issue. Let's not talk about the pedophiles who've been on our platform, you know, let's not talk about that problem. And you can see why people would have that stance, or like why people would see it that way, I feel like. And overall, it's not a good situation for anyone. Like, it's not like everyone is hyped that EDP445 got caught again, bro. Like, this is a guy who deserves, at the very bare minimum, to be rotting in a fucking jail cell. And that's like the nicest way that I can put what he deserves. We're not talking about somebody that like everyone loves, you know what I mean? I don't know, bro. It's a shitty situation for everyone involved. If there was one thing I do wish the Gideon sting, or realistically either of the stings that have really kind of gone public now, if there was one thing I could wish they did, honestly, it was just involve the cops from the jump. Because like, if you think about it, man, that first sting, if the police were involved and cooperated with like the predator poachers or whatever, they would have had the criminal evidence right there for the cops, and the police would have had, you know, a hand in the investigation. There's a good chance if the police were involved off the jump in either of these stings, and they were the ones who got to, you know, chain of custody the evidence or whatever, maybe EDP445 could have already faced charges along this whole time, right? Like, he's been caught twice, but what if the actual cops caught him one of these times, right? Like, it's weird to think about how different the timeline could have just went if the police were involved off the jump. Because then he would just be, he'd have been caught, he'd have been arrested, right? And hopefully the justice that deserves to be levied would have been levied. But instead now it's just kind of like a social media drama, and he's been caught twice now and yet no charges. So I don't know, man. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about this whole YouTube drama and signing out.